Eat beets. Avoid these 12 dangerous mistakes. Now, I know that sounds shocking because for years you've probably heard that beets are a superfood, that they cleanse the blood, lower blood pressure, and give you energy. But here's the surprising truth. While beets really do have incredible health benefits, most people over 50 are eating them in ways that can actually harm their health. Have you ever thought that something so natural and so innocent looking as a beet could end up making your joints ache, your blood sugar spike, or even interfere with your medications? That's exactly why today we need to talk about the 12 most dangerous mistakes people make when eating beets, and how to avoid them so you can enjoy all their benefits without the hidden risks. Stick with me, because what you'll discover in the next few minutes might completely change how you look at this simple root vegetable. Let's start with the first mistake. This one might sound counterintuitive. Many people think the more beets you eat, the better. After all, they're full of nitrates that open blood vessels, improving circulation. But here's the catch. Too much of those nitrates can backfire, especially for older adults with sensitive kidneys or those on blood pressure medication. I once had a friend in his 60s who started juicing beets every morning, thinking he was doing something heroic for his heart. But within weeks, he began feeling dizzy and lightheaded because his blood pressure dropped too low. That's a perfect example of how even something good in excess can turn harmful. Moderation is key. Instead of juicing large amounts daily, think of beets as a side dish a few times a week, paired with other colorful vegetables. The second mistake is ignoring the oxalates in beets. Oxalates are natural compounds that can contribute to kidney stones. If you've ever had a kidney stone, you know the pain is unforgettable. For people over 50, when kidney function may not be as efficient as it once was, this risk grows. I remember a patient who thought eating roasted beets every night was harmless until her doctor discovered calcium oxalate crystals forming in her kidneys. Now, does that mean you should fear beets altogether? Absolutely not. But it does mean you need to balance them with plenty of hydration and calcium-rich foods like yogurt or leafy greens that combine to oxalates and help your body flush them safely. The third mistake is forgetting that beets are high in natural sugar. One medium beet has around 9 grams of sugar, which doesn't sound like much. But when you juice 3 or 4 of them, that's like drinking a sugary cocktail. For people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, this can lead to spikes in blood sugar. What many people don't realize is that while the nitrates in beets improve insulin sensitivity over time, the immediate sugar hit can be dangerous. So if you love beet juice, balance it with fiber-add carrots, celery, or cucumber to your juice. Or better yet, eat whole roasted beets instead of juicing them. The fourth mistake is not washing or peeling beets properly. Beets grow underground, which means they're often coated in soil and can harbor bacteria or pesticide residue if they're not organic. I once saw someone throw raw beets straight into their blender without even rinsing them thoroughly. Imagine drinking a smoothie with traces of dirt and chemicals. That's not exactly what you signed up for in the name of health. Always scrub beets well. Peel them if you're unsure of their source. And buy organic when possible, especially if you plan to eat them raw. Now let's move on to the fifth, mistaking beets and ignoring the greens. Did you know that beet greens are even more nutrient-dense than the root itself? They're rich in vitamins A, C, and K, plus minerals like magnesium and potassium. But here's the catch. Beet greens also contain oxalates. So if you already have kidney concerns, piling on beet greens every day can be a problem. The solution is to enjoy them in moderation and pair them with calcium sources, just like with the beetroot. A quick saute with garlic and olive oil makes them not only safer, but also absolutely delicious. The sixth mistake is storing beets the wrong way. Many people leave them on the counter for days thinking they'll stay fresh, but beets are like sponges. They lose moisture and nutrients quickly. If you've ever cut into a beet that felt shriveled and dry, you know what I'm talking about. The best way is to cut off the greens, since they draw moisture from the root. Store the roots in the fridge in a breathable bag, and use them within a week or two for maximum freshness. It's a small detail, but it makes all the difference in taste and nutrition. The seventh mistake is cooking beets at very high temperatures for too long. Beets are loaded with antioxidants like betalains, which give them their deep red color. But guess what? Those antioxidants are sensitive to heat. Boiling or roasting them at very high temperatures can destroy much of what makes beets beneficial. I remember the first time I learned this sigh. Used to roast beets at 425 degrees for an hour until they were practically caramelized. They tasted great, but most of the nutrients were gone. Now I prefer steaming them gently or roasting at a lower temperature, just until tender. That way, you keep the flavor and the nutrition intact. The eighth mistake is mixing beets with the wrong foods. For instance, eating beets alongside iron supplements can interfere with iron absorption. Beets are rich in compounds that bind to minerals, making them less available to your body. If you're someone who takes iron for anemia, you don't want to undo its benefits with a big beet salad at the same meal. Instead, space them out, iron in the morning, beets later in the day. This small adjustment can make a world of difference. The ninth mistake is ignoring food sensitivities. Some people develop beet allergies or intolerances, which can cause stomach upset, hives, or even itching. I knew a woman who always felt bloated after eating beet salads, but never made the connection, until her doctor suggested keeping a food diary. If you notice digestive discomfort after eating beets, listen to your body. You might tolerate them cooked, but not raw. Or you might need to cut back altogether. The 10th mistake is not paying attention to the color of your urine or stool after eating beets. Now this might sound strange, but bacterio, when your urine turns pink, or red is actually quite common. While harmless for most, it can sometimes signal low stomach acid or issues with iron metabolism. So if you notice this regularly, it's worth mentioning to your doctor. Beets are like a natural diagnostic tool, giving you insight into your digestion and absorption. Don't ignore the signals your body sends. The 11th mistake is forgetting that beets can interact with certain medications. For example, because beets lower blood pressure, combining them with antihypertensive drugs can cause blood pressure to drop too low. They can also interact with blood thinners like warfarin, increasing bleeding risk. I can't tell you how many times older adults overlook this because they assume food is always safe. Food is powerful medicine, but that means it can be just as potent as a prescription drug. Always check with your doctor if you're adding beets regularly to your diet and you're on medications. And finally, the 12th mistake, seeing beets as a miracle cure. Yes, they can improve circulation, stamina, and even brain function thanks to those nitrates that boost nitric oxide. But they're not a magic bullet. If your lifestyle includes processed foods, poor sleep, and no exercise, no amount of beet juice will fix the problem. Beets are a wonderful addition, but they work best when part of a bigger picture of healthy living. I've seen people put all their hope in one food, only to be disappointed. Real health is built from many daily choices, not one single vegetable. So where does that leave us? Beets are both a blessing and a potential hazard, depending on how you use them. If you respect their power, balance them with other foods, and listen to your body, they can become an amazing ally for health after 50. But if you ignore these 12 mistakes, you risk turning something healing into something harmful. My advice is simple. Enjoy beets, but do so mindfully. Steam or roast them gently. Pair them with calcium-rich foods. Watch your portion sizes. And always consider your personal health conditions and medications. If you found yourself nodding along because you've made one of these mistakes, you're not alone. Most of us have. Share your story in the comments below. What's your experience with eating beets? Have you noticed changes in your blood pressure, your digestion, or even that funny beet-colored urine? Your story could help someone else avoid a painful mistake. And if you're finding this kind of health information helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications, because I share practical, science-backed advice. Every week tailored for people over 50 who want to feel their best. Now here's the twist I promised you. Beets aren't just food, they're a mirror. They show us how even the healthiest choices require wisdom, balance, and self-awareness. It's not about avoiding beets. It's about avoiding carelessness. And when you learn to eat them the right way, not only do you unlock their full potential, but you also learn a deeper lesson about health itself. It's never about perfection, it's about paying attention. So next time you slice into that ruby red root, remember, it has the power to heal, but only if you respect it.